Hello everyone, Vicky Verley here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at this big event of the nodes that are changing signs. Now, I use the nodes quite a bit in my astrology readings. I use them in my soul readings because in your personal chart, your north node is your path in life. It's your true north. It's what your soul is doing here in this incarnation, or your main goal in this incarnation, or what you're working on. And then the south node in your personal chart represents your past lives and also what you're releasing. So, and I use the nodes, and I've always used the nodes, and I really have I think I have a pretty good handle on them as far as, in the birth chart. But they also as transits, and as transits, that means where they're in the sky at this moment, this really affects the collective. And it affects our collective goals and the overall vibe of society and the zeitgeist, you could say. We're also going to take a look, we're going to go sign by sign and see what these nodes mean to you, perhaps. And we're also going to pull 2 cards for each sign to clarify or add further insights. Before we dive into the readings, I want to let you know that you're watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube. I love it if you could subscribe, hype, and all the good stuff that helps promote the channel. Also, if you want to get a hold of me for any reason, I do offer personal readings, including my past life reading. But the special that I'm offering right now is the eclipse reading, and that's going to be available for a limited time. We have 2 eclipses coming up in August. These are going to be the last 2 eclipses of 2026. Now, as far as if you are interested, by the way, in the past life readings, there is a personal past life chart reading that I do. That's the Soul's Journey reading. But I also offer this little astrology report called the Edgar Casey report. That is just a computer printout PDF. That is not me personally looking at your chart and doing any work on it. I think people sometimes get that confused. So if you want to get the soul reading, it's called the Soul's Journey reading, I believe. That's going to be the personal reading by me. And I have other tarot readings and different things over my website. Before I do this sign by sign, one more thing I want to tell everybody, because this is important to know and important to think about for if you want to get some personal insights into this general reading. These are the other dates when the nodes were, the north node was in Aquarius and the south node was in Leo. That's what's happening. I don't know if I even mentioned that so far. They were in Pisces and Virgo, and now they're shifting. And that's actually occurring, the date that that's occurring on is the 27th of July. At least in the States, it could vary. It could even vary. It's Eastern time, it's the 27th for sure. But it's, right around that time, right before the full moon in Aquarius too, which is interesting. But anyways, so let's look at this, because these are important dates for everybody. Now listen, so between December 2007 and August 2009, that was the very last time that these nodes were in that placement. Before that, it would have been May of 89 through November of 90, and prior to that, it would have been 1970 to 72, and there would have been other ones as well, but I just went back 3. So if you're old enough to remember any of these time frames, it's good to think about what were you being called towards and what were you being released. Like if you could go back to your 2007 or 2008 self and say, you know what, self, you really need to release that. Stop hanging on to that. And you can apply that lesson, in this time in your life. You don't have to keep, that's what's wonderful about astrology is it's cyclical. Everything's on a cycle. Now some of the outer planets, like these, are hundreds of years, so we don't see them, but these nodal things, they come around about every 18.5 years, I think it is, 18, 19 years. One more thing I want to mention about these past cycles before we dive into the sign by sign for everyone. If you were born in any of these years, then you're having a nodal return. And having a nodal return is a very, very powerful time. It's resetting your life's intentions. It's checking in on your life's intentions. Am I following my true soul's calling? Do I need to make some changes? These are the kind of things that come up around the nodal return, because at the nodal return, like I just said, you're locking into a 18 or 19 year cycle. So if you're not happy with the north, your true north, where you're being guided or where your life is heading, then this is the time that you want to make that change and dive into the next, think about this time frame as in the context of the next 18 to 19 years, in other words. All right, well, let's go ahead and start doing the sign by sign. We're going to start with the sign of Aries. So the North Node is moving into your 11th house, and the South Node is moving into your 5th house. South Node in the 5th is a good time to get rid of those gluttonous, my guides are saying, gluttonous habits. So if you party too much, or you eat or drink too much, these kinds of things, this could be a good time to let go of it. The other thing that the South Node can do is bring about people, places, and things from, I was going to say the past life, and that is true, but also from your past just in this incarnation. So people from the past could be showing up. Anybody who's showing up, friends, because these are social houses. This is 5th house is social, and the 11th is too. So it's going to be people-oriented in a lot of ways for many Aries, and especially Aries rising. So you want to, these people that are showing up at this time know that you have a tie-in with them. You have a destined or a karmic tie-in with them. I had some big nodal thing happen a couple of years back, and I probably had it, I'm sure it's again 18, 19 years, so I have had these things before. But this time I was just really hyper aware of it, and I was like, really? The people that were showing up, they were all old customers from the bar. My family had a bar. If it's your first time here, my family had a bar my entire life growing up. So it was all these old customers and people from the bar, and I would have never guessed in a million years that I would have had any kind of connection with most of them. But I knew because of the transit, well, this is really, and every one of them, I was just like, really? And the funnier thing about it, all of them are kind of mentally off, honestly. So that was pretty wild to me, but knowing that the nodes tie into past lives and things. And I've been a long time, I've said this forever, that I think many institutions and psychiatric care, not in all cases, but I feel like many of them are just psychic, and they don't know how to handle it or what to do with it, and then they end up on all these drugs in an institution and things like that. I'm so grateful that I had my grandmother growing up, to mentor and show me and make me understand what things were, because there by the grace of God go I, as they say. But yeah, it was really, really surprising. And I didn't get their number or anything. I'm not that. I'm not ready for that. But I think they just took a different path, and these people and myself are all in our golden years, you might want to say. And I don't know if it's not my job to bring them back around. I'm really not even sure what that all meant, but it was very shocking and surprising. I was just like, really? The other thing is, speaking of people, the North Node is what you're wanting to strive for. So you want to get in, this is going to be a time where opportunities will present themselves here for you to get in with groups of people that you do align with, or more importantly, perhaps, that align with your true soul's purpose, okay? All right, let's get a couple cards for our Aries peeps. This is primarily a rising sign, but you can look for Sun, Venus, anything you want, If you get a message, then, I hope you get a message, no matter what. Check all your placements. So whatever you typically chase, it's funny I said chase, whatever you typically check, then check that part of it. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Aries for the upcoming nodal shift. Let's see what we have here. It's about an 18-month transit, too. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune. Well, following your true north, following the North Star, your destiny. They call them the nodes of fate, and that's part of it. Well, you can be manifesting your butt off here, Aries. That's what it looks like to me. You may have so many things coming at you that it's like hard to choose. I've been in a situation like that, too. I've been getting bombarded with all this music projects and art stuff. I'm up to my ears in art, and I love it, and I'm loving every minute of it. But I've been thinking here lately, I've got to pick and choose a little. I can't spread myself too thin, because the abundance that's coming could be just so many things here. You've got 7 different options here. But another way to interpret this is that, this is a card of what you've been dreaming and what you've been visualizing of, okay? And so what you've been dreaming and what you've been visualizing of can come to fruition now. And you could have these divine synchronicities or divine timing, being in the right place at the right time, these kind of situations. So Wheel of Fortune, I always say, I have designed a few tarot decks and oracle cards, if I can find the box here. But I always tell everyone I did not put the Wheel of Fortune on the cover of my deck for no reason. I did it because it's, one of the best cards in that deck, if not the, especially when dealing with the nodes. So there's an opportunity to align with your fate, and whatever you've been visualizing, there could be an opportunity for that to line up. Sometimes I think of the Wheel of Fortune almost like a combination lock, and it's just like click, 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 click. Like it clicks, everything just starts clicking into place, and doors can open, when the Wheel of Fortune shows up. So that looks really nice for Aries. Okay, next we're going to look at the sign of Taurus. So let's turn the wheel. So Taurus is on the ascendant. So Taurus, this is occurring down here in your 4th and 10th house. 4th house is home and family. It's your roots. It's where you come from. The 10th house is typically thought of as a career, but really it could be whatever you're aspiring toward. What are you aspiring toward in life? So this, right away I got, with these south node going through your 4th, it's like releasing these things that no longer serve you. Releasing what doesn't serve you anymore. Whatever was laid onto you, not only from family, but whoever in your foundational years. These things that are imprinted on us as when we're younger and that we carry with us, and it's not serving you, Go to a higher realm. The Aquarius energy is the higher realm. Go to the higher realm, commune with your higher self, be the observer. The Aquarian energy can be very detached and the observer, more or less. What are you, take a look at these things. Is it true? Is it really true? The Byron Katie work. Oh, I've always been a loser. A loser is a strong word, but I'm hearing, if you've not been here, my guides come through with songs all the time. I'm not just sitting here singing, but I'm getting I'm a Loser UFO. I'm a loser on the road. I'm off key on that. I'm a loser on the road. There it is. Yeah, so, I don't know, are you a loser on the road? Or, but not coming through. Or that other one, I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? No, but, if you, whatever, it's almost like a chironic wound. And these 4th house ones are so complicated because it's like, we love our family, we wanna, we don't want to think ill of them or that they would do us harm. And in most cases, they weren't trying to do you harm. I'm sure it's just, it's just passed on stuff from generation to generation in our early home life. That's this imprint on us. So this is a time when you can really, first of all, have that realization, what kind of things am I carrying around, this baggage that's impeding me from achieving these higher aspirations and things like that, And this is a powerful time to be able to release them. Could be connecting up with family members too, if there's been not necessarily an estrangement, but maybe you haven't seen them for a while. There could be old family. What I'm picking up too for some of you, I feel like if you were to join one of these, DNA sites or something, you might find a family member that you do have a life path with in this incarnation as well. And this could be that timing with the nodes of fate that brings that person into your life. Maybe they'll be your best of friends or your greatest teacher, my guides are saying. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards from the deck here. It's called the Flower Child deck, that's what it is. So you have the 7 of Wands. I just want to call it the Hippy Dippy deck. And the 4 of Swords. Well, it looks like you need to back off and take a break. You also have, it seems like, a lot on your plate. And that's not usually you, Taurus. Usually you're pretty systematic. You do things one thing at a time. You're not usually the person who's going to take on all this stuff. But as you can see, it seems like it's coming from outward places coming at you. So this is a time, and it's funny you've got the 4 too, which is the 4th house. So it's bringing us back to this 4th house energy. Rest, meditation, and even stronger than either of those things, the 4 of Swords can be a time of healing. So you may be really working on some healing for Maybe these are things that, like I was saying before, that you've struggled with your whole life. These could be those thoughts that pop into your head. Oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or whatever. You know, it's different for everyone. We all have it, and we all have those thoughts. And this is saying, take a break from that, take a healing, do some kind of meditation. You know, I'm also not one to just sit cross-legged and say Om, but there's all kinds of ways, like being in the garden. The lake. I love my lake. You know, I go to the lake. Walking meditations, walking in nature, you know, these types of things. Dream time could be really, really powerful right now for you. You can be getting some major healing and downloads in the dream state. So it's more of a time right now, at least, of healing, at least till this subsides. You don't want this to be the prominent energy. You want peace and flow to be more of your prominent energy at this time, Taurus. Plus you have Chiron in your sign too, so there's that healing as well. Hey Taurus, if you want to get on my eclipse reading, or even like the past life soul reading I offer in different things, always through my website. Don't be fooled by social media imposters. Next we're going to take a look at the sign of Gemini. Well, Gemini, this is occurring in your 3rd house and your 9th house. So the 3rd house is actually your house in the flat wheel, as they say. The flat wheel is every sign has a house they rule innate, you know, without doing any rising signs or anything. So here's Aries is the 1st sign of the zodiac, 2nd, and you're the 3rd sign of the zodiac. Therefore, you are the natural ruler of the 3rd house. So the South Node is there. You know, what I'm picking up, this would be a good time for you to release any limiting beliefs, because the 3rd house is your house, and it's very learned, it's very communicative. It's all about the mind and words and learning and all these types of things. But it's limited. The 9th house is the higher octave of the 3rd house, and it's ruled by Uranus. So this is talking about going beyond limiting your limited beliefs, your limited knowledge even, and reaching out. This would be a great time to go back to school. This would be a great time to just take up a course of study of your own. Perhaps something of the spiritual nature too, because the 9th house is spiritual growth and development and things like this. But you could definitely be having an expansion of consciousness. And it's interesting to note, okay, so this is the 3rd house and this is the 8th, the house of Aquarius in your case. And the ruling, I know this is a lot of astrology, but just bear with me. Uranus is the planet. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I forgot to turn off the phone. Hold on. Uranus is the ruling planet of Aquarius. Let me just turn off the phone. So sorry about that. And Uranus is in your sign. So Uranus is in your sign, lighting up your energy to begin with. So you're really working in tandem with, or Uranus is reaching out a hand to work with you. And by the same token, your North Node, Uranian-ruled North Node transit here, is also going to be lending a helping hand, opening doors, showing you the way towards the North Node, which is the highest calling. So you could really, you know, grow by leaps and bounds at this time, you know, with all that Uranian energy going on. If you're able to let go of and, you know, Gemini is your immutable sign. You're not usually one to, unless you have a lot of Taurus in your chart, because sometimes you'll have your neighboring, you know, sign. But otherwise, Geminis, you're pretty loose, footloose and fancy-free, you know, things like that. So should be no problem for you to let go. You're always interested in learning new things and growing and, you know, changing. Okay, let's go ahead and get some cards for the Geminis for this nodal shift, this nodal transit. Here we go. 2. We've got the King of Pentacles. And second card we have is the 7 of Cups. Now that was that the last reading? But I shuffled quite a bit. But anyways, whatever you've been dreaming of, wanting to come true, the King of Pentacles could be bringing it your way. So the King of Pentacles could be an earth sign person, a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, or the money person. You know, it's funny, I think it was in Taurus's reading, but maybe you'll have a shared dream with a Taurus person. You know, that could be too. But otherwise, it could be you're hoping and dreaming of somebody's going to give you the job, give you that money opportunity, hire you for the job, give you the endorsement, I'm hearing, give you the apprenticeship, or you'll get accepted, or you'll get a grant to study, or something like that. That could definitely be a possibility. But it's something that you were hoping and dreaming for. The King of Pentacles, again, could be the person, no gender, because this is, it could be anybody, but a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. But always keep in mind that the Pentacle person does hold the coin, and they are the King of Pentacles. So they have, for one thing, they're the most experienced. They've done the most work. They're the most experienced. They know what they're doing. This could absolutely be some sort of an advisor, even if somebody to handle your finances, an accountant, or somebody who does like a stockbroker or something like that. If you're into that, it could be real estate too. I feel, because these castles are really standing out to me, and the King of Pentacles does handle that as well. It's not really showing up as much in the nodes, but just from this reading, because this could be finding your dream home too, what you've been visualizing. It has everything you want, or it has like the good footprint. That's what I want. I just want something that has the footprint I want. Because a lot of times, especially, you'll see these flip houses. If anybody watches, Zillow or watches real estate. I've been for several years because I've been wanting to move so much. But and you see these flip houses, and usually, at least where I live, they slap down this brown carpet, and then they, slap. It's all the same motif. The gray walls, the brown carpet, the little rectangular glass tiles by the sink. With those busy tiles, and I mean, that's cool if you like that kind of stuff, but none of that appeals to me at all. So I would love to, I have a basic footprint that I would want for a house. Art studio space is like really high on my list, and it could be for you too, because you could be doing really a lot of creative stuff. But I could see, maybe it's bare bones that it's like, oh, I could do something with this place. And I've redesigned I don't know how many houses in my head already. But yeah, visualizing and dreaming. I'm hearing dream work makes the team work, so that could be a factor too. But I feel like you're kind of going off in your spiritual journey, and this is a great time for expansion and growth for you. Okay, Geminis, if you want to get a hold of me, always remember, only through my website. Don't be fooled by these social media people that are imposters. Not only for me, but other YouTubers and people that are putting out content. And the special that I'm running is the eclipse reading. All that and more you can find over my website. Thank you for subscribing, liking, hyping. And next we're going to look at the sign of Cancer. Alright, Cancer, well, let me move the wheel to put you on the ascendant. Well, this is for sure in your money houses. The South Node is in your second house of money, so you could be releasing. This is a good time to sell things. This would be a good time to go through, have a garage sale even, but even maybe bigger than that. Maybe go on one of these websites where they, you sell your old clothes, or even donate them. But in the money houses, it would seem like more like you would be doing, selling, making some kind of money, some kind of profit perhaps, by purging and letting go. Some of you may be letting go of a source of income. That could absolutely be the case as well. Now, the North Node is over here in your 8th house, okay? So the 8th house is joint finances, investor. If some of you have been going it on your own, if you're an entrepreneur and you've been working on your own or something, this could be a good time to maybe team up with somebody. Team up with somebody and make, make it happen. They're giving me a song. And make it happen. What is that? I don't know. It's like maybe a disco kind of song. It's a dance music. And make it happen. That's all I'm getting. I can't get the rest of it. Sorry. If anybody knows, leave it in the comments. If you know it and leave it in the comments, make sure you say it's for the Cancer reading, because otherwise I'm not going to go back and watch the whole video again. And make it happen. They keep giving me that song. I'm not sure what it is. Anyways, let's go over to your cards. This is for Cancer, Sun, Rising, Moon. And this is for the upcoming nodal shift for Cancers. Let's see what we have here. The first card you have is the Sun. Well, that's beautiful energy. Well, it's happening just as, I think it's, a couple days after, less than a week. I'm going to get the second card, the Hierophant. You got 2 major arcana. That's really interesting, because major arcana are higher forces at work. It's a more powerful. They're more powerful cards, and it's talking about higher forces, like points of destiny, you could almost say, and the nodes of fate are kind of destined sort of thing. But I do want to tell you that the Sun card. Now the Sun is, as I'm doing this reading, the Sun is still in your sign. It'll be changing into Leo on the 22nd. And then this nodal ingress occurs on the 27th, so about 5 days. There's a 5. 5 days after the sun leaves your sign. Ooh, I just got chills all over. Yeah, that's true. But let's just take it down to just the regular tarot thing. You're getting noticed. If you did want to go out and get some kind of a different job, or you're applying, you want to get in with some kind of a big company, or this could, I think in modern day, I think the Hierophant could even be like the internet or social media collective, perhaps. But I don't know. I'm picking that up for this situation for sure. Now, the sun says that you are a standout, that you are shining, you are glowing. And as I'm doing this reading, we are actually just coming off of your new moon. So you still have that glow up, happening from that new moon in your sign, where the sun and the moon met in your sign. That was back on the 14th here. I'm actually doing this reading. Oh no, it was the 15th today. It's pretty close. But anyways, yeah, so you're shining, you're glowing, and they're noticing you. They see you. You're standing out in the crowd. And it's also acknowledging the talents and gifts that you do have. The talents and gifts that you do have. You are equipped for this. This isn't just some fluke or timing thing because the sun's in your sign. It's not really left to fate. The sun card tells me that you already have all the qualities, skills, and that they're just being shined upon at this time. The other thing about the sun, it's the ruler of Leo, but it also rules the heart chakra. So this is talking about coming from the heart. If you do have a big interview, you're trying to talk to these people, or if you're trying to put yourself out there, maybe this is even a social media platform or something. Coming from the heart is going to be the winning ticket. That's going to be the winning combination. Being sincere, coming from the heart. That's going to be the thing that's going to put you in the spotlight or put you where you want to be. All right, Cancer, well, thanks for tuning in. Check your sun, rising, moon, the whole deal. If you want to get a hold of me, please don't be fooled by these social media people. Only VickyVerley.com, where you can find readings, art, different things. The special that I'm running is the eclipse reading, but I have other readings available. Thank you for liking, hyping, all the good stuff, thumbs upping, the whole deal. All right, Leo, you're up next. Well, it is Leo, it's been all quiet on the Western Front for some time for Leos. Nothing really in your sign, nothing happening. So in this month alone, you have, well, it was actually the last day of June. Now we have Jupiter in your sign. And then as of the 27th, the node is moving into your sign. Not only that, these eclipses that I'm talking about here, August 12th, there's going to be an eclipse in your sign. So yeah, Leos, you were kind of just laying low for a while. But not anymore. These two houses that are being activated, though, is your first house of you, yourself, and then the 7th house is your marriage or partnership houses. So you're going to be looking into and reevaluating a lot of your partnerships. If you're single, this could be a very strong time where you could meet somebody, because the North Node is in your 7th. So you're being called to interact with other people, and other people may have the key or have some sort of benefit for you to get you where you want to go, to your true soul's calling, with this North Node being there. Again, if you went through the beginning, go back to those other dates, because those other dates would have also been the time frame when the eclipses were falling in your sign as well. I've talked about it in the very beginning of the video. All right, let's go ahead and get the two cards for Leo. Oh, there goes your first one, King of Wands, which is a representation of you regardless of gender, and the Two of Cups. Very interesting and very apropos. Well, that's you. That's a representation of you. But it could also be any of the fire signs, the Leos, the Aries, or the Sagittarius. It could be another one of those 3 signs, or sun, rising, moon. This little lizard on the bottom here is standing out to me. I wonder why it's there. Is there typically a lizard on the King of Wands? I just want to look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith really quickly. I mean, in all the years of doing tarot, and I even did a tarot deck, I don't think I ever noticed that lizard. Well, what do you know? There is. Huh. It's so interesting that that's standing out to me, though. So you might want to look up lizard animal totem. Chameleon comes to mind, changing, morphing, changing your views on relationships. I always say this, you know, don't ever say, I'll never date anybody who is fill in the blank. Because that's sure as you know what, that's what the universe is going to put in your path for you, you know. But it's interesting too that the second cup is the second card is the Two of Cups, which is the soulmate card. And everything on here, we do have the lion symbol, which again is your symbol, of course. And then we have the, you know, that you're represented here and you're represented here. So it's your time. It's your time to shine. The eclipses are going to be in your sign. Jupiter's in your sign. I said this on pretty much, I think, every reading I've done since Jupiter went into Leo for you. I mean, you're comfortable. Jupiter puts the spotlight on you, but Leo, you're comfortable in the spotlight. That's where you like to be. That's where you'll soak that up. Some people will shirk, you know, shrinking violets. So I don't want to be in the spotlight. Not Leo, man. You're ready. You know, you're ready to go. There was another thing. Oh, about this lizard. Because it's still standing out to me. What's coming to mind, even though it's not representing in the cards, but maybe some of you might be dealing with a Scorpio. Because one of the gray lizard is actually, this is sort of a green lizard, but the gray lizard is one of the representations of the Scorpio energy. However, it is, oh, I went out of, no I didn't go out of sync. I'm sorry. I thought I went out of sync here. Sorry about that, Leo. I got thrown off for a second. But, you know, it's not the best energy. So if you are dealing with a gray lizard, if you're dealing with somebody who is moody and kind of depressed or in their shadow a lot, this is not the time for that. This is the time for you to come out and bask in the sunlight and, you know, this soulmate connection. Now, the soulmate connection is strong and powerful and cool, and with everything happening in your 7th house here too, the North Node. But, you know, I want people to realize that your soulmate is not just your one and only person. There's many people in your life who are your soulmates. You know, they're your best friends, your work partners. You know, you have lots of soulmates in your life. So partnerships, soulmates, though, these are the things that are going to be really accentuated. And you are just shining like the sun, as always. You know, living your best life, Leo. I just heard living la vida loca. I'm not sure. Does that mean your best life? Or I'm not even sure what that means. Okay. Hey, Leo, if you want to get in on that eclipse reading, it is happening in your sign, or any of the things I offer, please check my website. Do not be fooled by social media imposters or anybody else out there. Liars! Okay. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Virgo. Well, you know, Virgo, the South Node has been in your sign for the last, I think it's 18 months that the node spends in a sign. I should have looked that up before I started to confirm it, but I'm pretty sure that's it. You know, it's about 1.5 years. So, it's been a while. It's been a minute. And you've been having eclipses in your sign and all that other stuff. And Virgo, you don't like that. Virgos like things pretty much on the even keel. You like things to be predictable, organized. This is here and this is what I'm doing next. And you don't like these sudden shake-ups and all this, you know, things going on. So things could be really calming down for you, and that could be a nice for you. It's interesting, I forget, was it Gemini? But you also have the placement where the North Node is in your 6th house. Yes, in the sign of Aquarius, but you are the 6th sign of the Zodiac, see? 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So therefore, the 6th house is your natural, your home house, I guess you could call it. So there's a big correlation between you and the 6th house. And 6th house energy is health, you know, organizing. So all that stuff is right in your wheelhouse. I mean, you're just like, oh, thank God things are not going to be shaking up some more. I can get into the stuff that I really thrive. This is where you thrive, 6th house. Health, fitness, work, you know, all of those things, there's going to be divine presence with the North Node. And then the 12th house is the past and things that are leaving you. You could be getting some spirit visitations. Definitely some spiritual visitations, like in a dream perhaps, or something like that. But I feel like it's more just relief that it's not in your sign anymore. Bye-bye, South Node and eclipses. Let me get back to work here. But working on things that you love and that are aligned with your destiny. Okay. Let's go ahead and get 2 cards for Virgo. We have first the 3 of Cups. Let me grab a crystal. That's happiness and celebration. And then secondly, we need another crystal. You have the Devil. Okay. Well, Three of Cups, because you can be released, you're happy and joyous. That's what the Three of Cups is. Because the Devil, you're able to release things. The 12th house is the final stages of things. So when the node was in your first house, you were probably realizing that a lot of things that weren't working out for you. But it was hard with the eclipses and everything else that was going on to really get your footing. And now that things are chilling out and settling down, you can be like, okay, I know I want to purge this, and the South Node will be working with you and make it much easier. Three of Cups could be specifically some sort of celebration. I mean, some of you Virgos, your birthday's not far off. This could be something around the time of your birthday, or when people are happy and celebrating. But definitely you want to be free from bondage. You don't want to be. Some of you, I'm picking up somebody out there might be having a divorce party. I remember people doing that back in the day. They finally got divorced and they're having a happy celebration over that. The other thing I'm picking up is you could be retiring. Some people might be retiring. So this job that you felt in bondage to, you're free of it and you're having this joyous celebration. And, it's just going to be a better time for you. More ease and flow than you've been experiencing. More even keel, right? All right, Virgo, if you want to dive into anything of this further or any of the readings I offer, you always have to go to my website. Please don't be fooled by social media imposters. They're rampant on, impersonating YouTube people and other people that put out content. So the real deal is only through there. Thank you for liking and hyping and subscribing. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Libra. Well, Libra, this is in your 5th and 11th. Again, these are these social houses. You may be pulling away from the South Node in the 11th. You may be pulling away from some of the groups that you belong to, some of the things that, they just don't fit anymore. And it doesn't have to be, Libras, typically you're so nice anyway. So it's not necessarily going to have to be some big drag down fight and, oh, they did this and that and I hate you and we're done. It's just kind of like, I'm busy that night, I'm going to do something else. Or I'm picking up for somebody you had a long-standing regular thing. What they're showing me is one of my ex was into bowling. He was in a bowling league for a year. I mean, he might even still be, for all I know. But, he did, every week he went to the bowling alley. And then, maybe you're going to say, well, I'm not going to do the bowling alley, now I'm going to do the book club. Or it could be, or I'm not going to do the book club, now I'm going to go do this hiking or some other thing, something different. Because it does tie into the 5th house too, and you may be more pursuing your 5th house matters. This is where the North Node is, where you're being led toward. So 5th house is entertainment, fun, enjoyment. It's also children, it's also love and romance. Some of you may, if you've been out there trying to date and meet people, you may want to try a different place. Or even if you're like using an app, you might want to try a different app, Or if you've been using app, maybe you want to do some other thing, different, pull from a different pool. Or if you've just been going to the club every weekend and trying to meet somebody, maybe you want to go to a different club or try the apps or whatever it might be, could be like that. But, going towards what makes you happy and not trying to people please to fit in the 11th house, because that's one of the things, Libra, you can fall into too. You can be a people pleaser. You want to make everybody happy, and you just you can please some of the people some of the time, and something but you got to please yourself. I forget, is that one of, who said that? Was that Barnaby? That's kind of, I think Barnaby might have been, that was fool some of the people. I don't know. If anybody knows that quote, leave it in the comments. Make sure you say Libra reading. I think it was Barnaby. I think that Barnaby might have been a regional show. More, grew up in the Midwest. It might have been more around here, or even local. I just got to look this up really quick. Just a second, Libra. This one's going to bug me. Barnaby TV show for children. I see several of them, depending on the era. It was local. So it was on from 1959 from 1990. Oh no, he said if anybody calls, tell him Barnaby said hello. Yeah, so that was just a local thing. But I don't know why he's coming up. Okay, what's the one? Was that from a different, I gotta know this. Just give me a second, Libra. You can fool some of the people some of the time and all of the people all of the time. But you can't fool mom. That's what it was. Let me see here. Yeah. Oh, it was attributed to Abraham Lincoln. What? How did I go from Abraham Lincoln to Barnaby? I don't know on that one. But basically, you know, the way it was coming through is you can please, you have to please yourself. That's basically how I got off on that Barnaby tangent. Okay, let me go ahead and shuffle. Shuffle the cards for Libra, Sun, Rising, Moon. What's the 2 cards for Libra with this nodal transit? Universe. What do we got here? We have the Knight of Swords, and then that's a representation of you, and the Queen of Swords. Oh. It's funny I kind of, you know, latched onto that relationship thing because it, you know, it does look like, you know, this is very relational. The Knight and the King of Swords, they're a couple. And you don't have to apply that gender. It could be any gender that would apply to you. It doesn't matter. But, you know, they're partnerships, you know. But I'm just looking at the cards themselves here. The stacks are very, better like this, I think, on the same level. One's way up high and one's way up low. I don't know if you were noticing it, but it looked weird from my perspective. Okay, here we go. But looking at it this way, this person may be running off in another direction. You could be either one of these. You know, they may be saying, come on, we're going to go. What I'm picking up for this is an annual thing that you go to every year. Like maybe, you know, oh, it's this big, it feels like some kind of a big sporting event, or it feels like, to me, maybe almost like a Comic-Con, or the way they're dressing up here, or wrestling. You know, there's this sensationalism, that kind of vibe around it, or some kind of horror where everybody's in costumes, or, you know, maybe it's Halloween even coming up, because that would be closer to your birthday. But maybe this is one of your birthday buddies. I used to have a lot of, well, my brother was one of my birthday buddies, and he passed away, but you know, people back when my family had the bar, you know, I had a lot of birthday buddies, and we just have this big, you know, party for everybody, you know. And we always get together every year and have a drink or go out or do whatever, you know. And, well, let's use that example, because when I quit drinking, one of my birthday buddies and longtime close friends, former bandmate, you know, all of a sudden this person, you know, just turned on me. And what I said at the time, what I wanted, another common friend of ours who was in the musician groups that we were, you know, the musician circles that we were in, and we've been also known since we were, you know, really young people, like maybe even teenagers. I knew him since I was a teenager. Well, he passed away. And at that time, this other group of people, you know, we always got together for our birthdays around Christmas. For the Christmas jam and party, you know, but usually that entailed going out and getting wildly drunk, you know, and being crazy. And it's just like, you know, I'm not a kid anymore, number one. And number two, I quit drinking. So I said, when this person died, I said, I got a hold of them, and I go, you know, people are dropping like flies. Why do we have to wait for Christmas? Why don't we, how about getting together every month for a lunch, you know, somewhere? Because also the town I live in, there's a lot of, it's kind of a foodie town, and a lot of these independent restaurants are opening up all over. And I'm like, let's go check out some of these independent restaurants. Well, this person, my birthday buddy, was not having it. You know, this person was just not having it. Because the other part of it was, you know, every year for our birthday celebration, I mean, it went without saying, I'm not pissed about it, but that person would always just crash at my house because they lived kind of far away. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm happy to host them. It's not a problem, you know. But, you know, now that I don't drink anymore, I don't want to do that. And it's not fun for me to drive your drunk ass around to bars, you know. And these people they like to eat too. They're you know, they're very much into food too. So, and I said, well, why don't we just go to, you know, have a monthly lunch, you know, because who knows how much time any of us have. Why do we have to wait a year to catch up, you know? And then no, I want to go party. And, you know, this person was just adamant about it. I said, well, we go to lunch, and you guys can order drinks if you want. I'm not going to drink, but, you know, you can order a drink. No, you know. And then this person says, well, you can just laugh at and have fun and laugh at me while I drink. And I said, well, it's not fun or funny to me. And that was it. Cut off, cold. And then not only that, I'm the enemy, like sort of having a little bit of a vendetta against me even. I was just like, wow, so maybe it's not that drastic, but it feels like this person wants to get wild, and you're just like, you know what, I'm past that. I'm over that. I'm doing a different path now. I'm not into that anymore. This reminds me of that scenario really strongly. So maybe that's the case, but maybe some of you want to take a walk on the wild side a little, because the North Node is in your 5th house after all. Maybe it's just like, maybe this is another scenario related to me. After my kids were getting old enough, because I was in my 20s, early 20s when I had my kids, so I kind of felt like I maybe missed out on a lot of things. And, when they got to be, little teenagers, I started going out again, and, I was like, I'm ready. I want to shake my tail feather. I want to have some fun. I started going out. So maybe you've been home with the kids or whatever, or again, maybe you've been married for a long time and now you're free, and then you're calling up that crazy party buddy and saying, hey, where's the party? What's happening? It can go either way, but they feel really different energy, So take it as it resonates. It is a good time to really go out there and have a lot of fun at this time, though. But the fun doesn't necessarily have to be drinking and partying, whatever's fun to you. This is creativity, too, and many Libras, you're Venus ruled, so many Libras are, you're very creative. All right, Libras, well, if you want to dive into that specifically, or anything else, I'm always available over here on my website. Turnaround is usually within about a week, and I'm offering the Eclipse Special. If you enjoyed this content, please hit subscribe and like and all the good stuff. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio, let's see here. So this is down in your 4th house and your 10th house. And so it's time to really reevaluate where you came from. Many of you could move. This could be a time of move because Pluto's down here too. I forgot to mention that for other people. But that conjunction isn't coming for a year and a half or so. But looking at the place you live, looking at your foundations in life, rebuilding the foundations. Many of you may be reevaluating your goals, dreams, and ideas. You may be reevaluating that. Like saying, I fought so long, this is what I always thought I wanted to do, and maybe it just doesn't have that fulfillment or that spark there anymore. Maybe it's just like, I just don't feel like it doesn't do it for me anymore, in other words. And you may be reevaluating, building from the ground up. That's what my guides are saying. Building from the ground up some sort of new plan, idea, foundation, You could also be connecting with family. I think I said this for somebody else, but if you want to go into one of those DNA sites, you may find somebody, some long-lost relatives. Or even, when I first got on social media, I connected up with cousins right in my local area that I didn't even know, really. I kind of knew of them, but I didn't really know them. And they're all like my age and cool, too, So we've become friends, and, we get together, a couple times a year usually, at least once a year normally. But, finding out that you have this family that you didn't even know, that could be a thing. Or it could be a found family, too, a family of choosing for some. Okay, let's go ahead and get 2 cards here. Got the 8 of Pentacles and the World. Before I even threw the World, what came through, what I heard was, whatever you're working on is going to be very well received. Yes, indeed, very well received. So, I just want to see something really quick. Yeah, I was just looking for the back of that card. Okay. Yeah, so whatever you've been working on here, and you could be starting a new career for sure. This stuff was going through your 5th house for a while. I know I was having major I'm Scorpio rising as well, and I was having major creativity binges. I'm still in it. I'm still in a major creativity binge, but now you can maybe take what you learned there, or what you created. Like a lot of the stuff that I created, I still haven't even put out there. This new painting series that I'm working on, I've not put out there yet. But before I even laid the world, I heard whatever you've been working on is going to be very well received. Maybe you're going over your resume, you know, if you're looking for, you want to change careers. What I'm picking up, if you want to change careers, have several resumes. And I'm picking up, you'd be surprised. I think you should include more than you think. Because I think you're going to be surprised at how some of the things that you thought wouldn't apply to, like say you're after a specific role or what do you call that? Not an assignment. A job, you know, a specific, there's a word for it, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. But you know, you want to get this job, let's just say. You want to get in with this company. Position, a certain position. And the position is listed, well, it entails this, 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 and this. So you just put on your resume for that job everything that applies to this, 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 and this. But I think that for somebody out there, there's going to be some other just little thing. Maybe it even has to do with working in a flower shop or a garden or something. I don't know. But that person's going to see that other little thing and say, oh, like, oh, they've got people skills because they worked in customer service. Or, oh, they're, you know, there's something else about it. So I wouldn't just eliminate everything, because that other thing, the thing that you would think would never apply to this position, it just might. It just might be the key for you getting exactly what you want. So the world is wrapping up, so you're wrapping up this thing and you're working on something new, perhaps maybe even a home-based or entrepreneurial business with this fourth house energy. But the world to me also says it could be really big. This, my guide said it could go viral, you know, it could be worldwide if you put it out on the internet. People are, you're well received, that's what they keep saying. People want more of whatever it is that you're doing here. They definitely want more of it, and they're eager to. It's almost like you might not have, like she's working and she's getting her, you know, she's got her supply, you know, her backup, her inventory, you know, she's got her inventory here. I'm feeling like you could sell out. If it's something like that, or maybe you're going to start doing some kind of thing where you go and you, like a fair, or you get a booth or something like that, you know, you could sell out, or you could get your book, like get a first run print of your book, and it could sell. I'm feeling like it could sell out. Like whatever you're offering, you're going to have to really jump back on here and get busy. Well, you know, with Saturn in the 6th, you'll be working, you'll have that determination to do that hard work and get things done that way. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of success for you, Scorpio. I'm happy for you, and as me as well, because I'm Scorpio rising. If you want to get in on the readings that I offer, including the special eclipse reading, anything else, I have tarot readings and different things, always through my website. Don't be fooled by imposters. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius, you're such a crazy pants. Well, this is happening in your communication houses, your third house of communication, and then the south node is in your ninth house, and you are the ninth house of the zodiac, so that's your realm. There's things about that you've been doing all along, because the ninth house is kind of what, you know, your home house. There's a word for it. I should have looked this up before I started, but, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in the flat wheel, you are the ninth sign of the zodiac, therefore rule the ninth house, even though it's Leo. I know some people are like, what? Too much astrology. Ooh, look at the world just flooped out of the deck. I got to take it again. So, you know, this is things that you've been doing all along that just are part of your fabric. You may be really reevaluating them and finding a different way of thinking and doing things. And the way you think about things is coming through really strong. Let's go ahead and get you Knight of Wands. Well, that's your card too. Knight of Wands is a representation of you, because you are the fire sign. So it could be you or any of the fire signs. Another Sag, a Leo, Leo Sag, and Aries. Could be any of the 3 fire signs. It could just also be right now in this fire sign moment, you know, this fire sign time. But you're walking right into it, aren't you? And so a lot of times I'll say that the world can be like a vortex or portal. And doesn't it kind of look like, look at this psychedelic kind of, it's like you know, like a portal is opening, or you walked into an alternative timeline, a reality. It's like as you're because you're on your way, right? It's electrified, or it's charged, or something, you know. So you are walking right in through a portal. You're completing one thing into another. But again, the world is always something pretty big. It's not always evident how big it is when you're first going through it. It's not always, you don't always see it or know it for sure. But it is there, and you are walking through it, and you are aligning. There's an opportunity to really align with some bigger things right now that are going to turn into really big things. A really big shoe, like Ed Sullivan. All right, Sag, if you want to get a hold of me for anything, you always got to go to my website. Don't be fooled by social media imposters. If you want to get on the eclipse reading that I am offering, if you like this content, like, subscribe, always appreciate it. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Capricorn. Well, Capricorn, this is also in your money houses. I mean, that's, you know, money houses, Capricorn's ears just lit right up, didn't they? Yeah, because that's your jam, right? You may be letting go of some kind of partnership or some kind of income stream that is just not serving you, or something along those lines. And you're definitely looking for new, and being guided toward new ways of earning income and making money. And this is the energy of this North Node is going to help guide you there. Okay, so let me get oh, card flew over. Justice, that's usually legal matters. Then I'll just take the top card and the Four of Cups. Okay, so Justice, there may be some legal things involved, like contracts, things of this nature. Could be some sort of court case or something, but with your money, and you're getting an offer. And it looks like multiple offers, so it could be some kind of multiple offers on something you're selling. It could be multiple job offers or career path offers too, absolutely. Now, Justice is here, and what's standing out on here is the Sun and Moon. Now, that could be that eclipse energy, because those involve, you know, the Sun and Moon energy. But also on the 29th, just 2 days after this node's changed sign, we're going to have a full moon in the sign of Aquarius, where also the nodes are, and also in your money house here. So, might be talking around right around that time frame for you. But yeah, so there is some kind of money thing happening. Justice, some kind of legal thing. There's more than one opportunity, or more than one offer, or more than one point that needs to be addressed, my guides are saying. It also could feel kind of like, maybe like if you're a person like me who has multiple income streams, it may be like these three are pretty steady, or they're kind of in, they're sort of in the background, maybe not really bringing in all that much, and that one of these is really going to step out and become more of the main earner, you could say. And again, it might involve some kind of contracts or something, or maybe, you know, there's going to be some kind of a thing, a legal matter where you get a large sum, and that's, you know, more than, if this feels like this is more than this, than the three of these. So maybe one of your income sources is more than all three of the other ones put together, or maybe if this is just a regular job, maybe this is one of the jobs is going to pay more, has more benefits than any of the three put together. It feels like it has that energy and that vibe attached to it. But yeah, money's going to be a big focus now, and the Justice card is a very positive card to have come out for you, Capricorn. If you want to get a hold of me for readings or anything else, I do have a quick turnaround, usually within 1 week. Head over to my website. That's the only way. Don't be fooled by social media imposters. I have this special eclipse going on for a limited time. Next, we're going to look at Aquarius. Well, Aquarius, the North Node is in your sign. I mean, Pluto's been in your sign, now the North Node. If there was ever going to be a time of major transformation, this is going to be it. This is going to be it now. You are dealing with partnerships, but it feels like you're going to be following your own true north, or your own true north star, or something like that, you know. And the 7th house is releasing. So some of the people that you've been dealing with, you're going to be releasing. Some of you may be letting go of a business partner. Some of you may be changing your relationship. You may say, you know, I don't really vibe with that person anymore. I've got to go my own way. You can go your own way. Yeah, they're coming through with that song, Go Your Own Way. Yeah. So you might want to listen to the lyrics of that song in more depth to get further insights. Yeah, but you may be deciding to go your own way. I mean, Aquarius, you're such a trailblazer in your own right anyway. You know, you let your freak flag fly. You know, you do your own thing. You know, you're not a follower. You're very much one of a kind and a little bit different, you know, in the best possible way, right? Okay, let's get a couple of cards here. My guide said you may not be able to be tethered to one soul for the rest of your life, and that may be the case. The first card you have is Ten of Pentacles, nice. And then the second card you have is the Page of Swords. Well, that is a representation of you. The page is you as a young person. Even if you're still young, quote unquote, it's still more like a child, you know, maybe from your childhood. And there's even the child on here and the diapers here. So Ten of Pentacles is this big money card. Ten of Pentacles is family, generations, because we've got all the generations there. And it's the inheritance, property, and things like that. I mean, we just came out of that time when you had the big activation over here and the eclipses happening in that inheritance house. But it could be something from a relative. Maybe you're going to inherit some money from a relative or something like that. Maybe you're going to hear from somebody, a relative, and for somebody I feel that there's a relative that has like a spread like this. Like they have a big spread of land and maybe even like a guest house or a barn that they converted into a, you know, place. And or maybe you're just going to go stay the summer even. If there's some sort of invitation that comes up like that, because it feels like maybe over here you're by yourself, right? And the way the butterflies are there, yeah, that's good stuff. But the way she's holding that sword, almost like a batter holds a bat, like she's batting away, you know, she's fending off, you know, whatever. She feels like she has to fend off, almost like the Nine of Rods, you know, card in the tarot. I don't know if I can find that real quick, but being on guard, you know, being ready to fend off whatever it is here. And here, this feels really warm connection, and it's a money card, but it feels really warm connection, you know, feeling like belonging, these types of things, but also having space and room to roam, not being underfoot or under somebody. Maybe this might be you living in the city, you know, get back, honky cat, living in the city and where it's at. It's like trying to find gold in the oh, I'm gonna find my something. I can't think of it. You know the song, Elton John, Get Back, Honky Cat. You better get back to the woods. But this, it feels more like this. This reminds me of back when I was a kid. It wasn't a blood relative. It was my grandmother's second husband. But I called him Grandpa or whatever, you know. And you know, he was the only grandfather I knew on that side of the family, you know, even though he wasn't my blood. But he had relatives in Pennsylvania, and we used to go to their farm. Him and my grandmother had like, they had campers, and then they kept upgrading to like Winnebagos and stuff. And they used to travel, they drove all over the United States in their camper things. But we used to go. I didn't go every year, but they went all the time. I went with them, I think at least twice, maybe, I don't know. But this reminds me of that. And it was this spread, and there was these other not outhouses, but you know, other buildings that were on the property. And then was the big farmhouse, and it was like this, and there was all these, you know, just wide open spaces like this, and hills and stuff like that. And this reminds me of that a lot, and especially with the generational things like that. Maybe that's a message from him coming through to me at this moment, but it could be a similar situation like that. So, but could be news coming about money too, with some air sign energy. Now, the full moon on the 29th, 2 days after the nodes go into your sign, that's also going to be air sign energy. You might get news about some kind of money or possibly inheritance. That's coming through. Family and inheritance is coming through real strong on that for you this time, Aquarius. All right, Aquarius, if you want to dive into the eclipses and all this stuff, you know, head over to my website. I have various readings available. Turnaround time is quick, usually about a week at the most, sometimes faster. Next, we're going to take a look at the sign of Pisces. Well, Pisces, these are in your 5th house of creativity. Actually not, I'm mistaken on that, excuse me. That is your 6th house of work. The South Node is in your 6th house of work, so you may be ready to give it up. There might be some job that is just draining you and you don't want to do it anymore, and you know, you're done with it. And then the other part of it, the North Node, is in your 12th house. This is another interesting setup because you are the 12th sign of the Zodiac. So if we start with the first sign and we go through all the 12 signs, the flat wheel, that's your natural place, the 12th house. That's where you thrive. That's your energy. So the North Node being in the 12th house, although it is in the sign of Aquarius, still is giving you that, it's kind of right in your wheelhouse. It's going into that 12th house energy, which is spiritual, psychic, meditative, connecting with spirits on the other side, past lives, all these sorts of things. And in your case too, the North Node has been in your sign for the last 1.5 years or so. So and during that time, you know, you may have had some big realizations with the North Node was in your sign about where you want to go in life. See, it was convoluted in your case because you had Neptune there and you had Saturn there. You know, there was a lot of action. It wasn't just a clean nodal transit. There was a lot of stuff there. So it may have been a little bit overwhelmed. And then now, but you should have had some big realizations during that time, right? And now that the node is transited into your 12th house, this is the time when you know, you're back in your comfort zone. You can digest and figure out what was that all about. What happened? What even happened during that time? What did all that last few years of just chaos and mayhem, eclipses in your sign too, you know, what did it all mean? Where am I at now? And where am I going now? And you could really be getting peace and clarity. And you might be doing changing some health habits too. That's another thing with the 6th house. Okay, let's go ahead and cut the deck and get 2 cards for our Pisces. Sun, Rising, Moon. We've got the King of Pentacles. He's been out a couple times already. And the Queen of Pentacles. So you've got the King and the Queen of Pentacles. Well, usually when you get this is a match set, right? So they're a team, they're a partnership. It really wouldn't represent you necessarily unless you have Earth sign rising, because the Pentacle people are the Earth signs, the Taurus, the Capricorn, the Virgo. This may be sort of like a husband and wife team that run a business or something. Because if you are looking for a new job or some kind of work thing, that they may be the person that you're going to deal with. Or maybe they're who you're letting go, but it feels more like they're who you're going to be dealing with here, going into the future. They feel beneficial, and I get really nice and good vibes and good energy out of them. But also, you know, it could tie into money. It absolutely could tie into money. And I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a minute there. I'm hearing Money by Pink Floyd. Money, it's a drag. Don't give me that bullshit. Money. Whatever, I'm picking up that song there. But so you can listen to it. It's Pink Floyd. I'm sure many are familiar with it. This could also be the other thing I was picking up. For somebody out there, I feel like these guys own a gym, or they're trainers, or they're personal trainers, or this guy might be the trainer, and this person is like, maybe this person does the nutrition, or they do the herbal oils, or, you know, things like that. They're herbalist or something like that I'm picking up. Or these people could have to do with, or maybe it's even a doctor team. Maybe this is with 6th house. King of Pentacles isn't generally a doctor, but it could be with this 6th house. Maybe you're going to change doctors too. Maybe you're going to change from this doctor to that doctor. What I feel like though is this person is more regimented and like down to business, and this person has like a softer, more holistic, even homeopathic, if it is health related, you know, kind of vibe to them, you know. So it doesn't have to be one or the other. Again, they could be a team working in tandem together. But these people are going to be, I feel, helpful and important to you at this time. All right, Pisces, well, if you want to get in on the year, not the year ahead, what am I talking about? That's not for some time. The eclipse reading, actually the second eclipse on August 28th is in your sign. It'll be the lunar eclipse in Pisces, so it will be relevant to you for certain. Head over to my website for that or any of the readings I offer. It is a quick turnaround, usually within about a week I can get it back to you. And if you like my content, please do hit the subscribe, hype, and like, and all that good stuff. Hope everybody has a great next 18 months with this transit, and I'll be back again soon with another reading. Till then, goodbye.